Look, a lot of good situational work today. We had some third down in the low red zone. We also had some 2-minute work today. So our guys continue to work extremely hard, and thought it was another good practice. So fire away.
Coach, why wasn't Jameis involved in the goal line moves that you guys had?
Yeah, Jameis went in today with kind of tweaked his foot a little bit. He went in for some evaluation. I don't have any update on that, but it was kind of rolling out. I think it was in the 7-on-7 period that kind of felt it tweak a little bit, and so we wanted to go in and get him evaluated.
In spite of the tweak, could you kind of summarize to this point how you feel he's done in the context of his recovery from surgery?
I think he's done great. Yeah, I think he's done really well. I think he's in a good spot, and yeah, I like where he's at.
Do you think that the success that Joe Burrow had was in any way an instructor for people?
Not you. You find your own
who are in a similar injury situation going forward?
I don't know that. Everybody's different. Each injury is unique. So I don't know that has an effect. Probably a better question for him.
Does that feel like Andy handled it?
I thought he handled it well. And yeah, it was good.
Could you address Mike Thomas's progress at this point? Is he about close to full speed, would you say?
I'd say I think he looks good out there. He looks like he's rounding back into form like he was prior to the injury. Certainly there's still a progression that we're going through with that player, but he's incorporated himself into some team drills. You see some physical contact happening out there, and he continues to line up again. So, yeah, I like where he's at.
You have the officials in. Do they speak to players before practice or after, kind of instructing them, hey, this is?
Yeah, well, yeah. There's a little bit of conversation that happens before practice, conversation that happens during practice. We'll have them in the meetings this afternoon. I think it's a good situation for both groups. It allows the officials an opportunity to come in and kind of, just like we're practicing for the regular season, they're kind of doing the same thing. So that's kind of good, and it allows us in this type of environment to, to ask some questions about, what you can or can't do, and those guys can kind of give us a little bit of idea what they're looking at.
With CJ practicing fully today, is that the expectation going forward to help continue to take back the team drills and all that stuff?
Yeah. And look, I thought he looked good today.
Dennis, like last year's draft class, have you seen typical progress from that year to this year? We've seen guys like Landon Young, Peyton Turner.
Yeah.
Make jumps, Paulson DeVito.
Yeah. I think all those guys are improving, and I think all of them are guys that I think can help us, and so I think that's a good thing. I like what they're doing.
Is that a normal jump from year one to year two, full off season, or not?
Look, all of them are unique situations. Everybody comes from a different football background. People progress at different rates. But yeah, certainly you would expect to see some signs of improvement in year two. And, really going into kind of the third week of training camp, you're seeing some signs of improvement out of those guys.
How many series do you think the starters might?
We haven't even discussed it. That's probably a discussion for a little bit later in the week. We got time between now and Saturday night to kind of figure all that out, but that'll be a discussion that'll probably happen a little later in the week.
Is there any thought to, because your quarterback is coming off a major injury, that maybe he would need a little extra?
Well, look, and again, we haven't really discussed that. So later in the week, we'll talk about it as a staff and kind of come up with a plan on what we want to do.
You mentioned 3 weeks of training camp. Are you at the point where you want to see maybe a game? And I know the practices when y'all went and did the Chargers workouts. Are you kind of anticipating like we're ready for that? That's what I want to see now.
Yeah, I think we're in good spots. We got a couple more installs to go before we get to Houston. So we're kind of focused on that part of it right now and just evaluating our team. But I'm excited to see our team go out there and play, and looking forward to that, and then looking forward to getting on to Green Bay a little bit next week and having some competitive practices against somebody else.
Coach, what specific areas has Abram Smith improved on that kind of caught your eye?
Yeah, I think I've just seen a little bit more decisiveness in his runs. I've seen him put his foot in the ground and get north and south in the last few practices, and so that's an area that I'd like to continue to see improvement with that player. That sense of urgency, I think, is important. So we talked about getting ready for a game. I'm excited to see some of these young guys that I haven't seen operate in a game. I'm excited to see some of these guys get out and play.
Do y'all watch game film on Houston or just installation on what you're doing right now?
Well, most of it's installation, but we'll put together a game plan for Houston when that time's appropriate. But yeah, our focus really right now is still on our team.
How's the Taysom Hill issue coming along?
Well, I don't know what issue we're talking about, but look, he was back out there today for a little bit of walk through, individual routes on air. We'll begin to kind of ramp him up a little bit. I think he was excited about being back out there a little bit today, and certainly we were excited about having him out there.
Is it helpful the way the schedule worked out? Y'all are going to be gone together for a week. You had practices against another team in between 2 games. Is that a healthy thing?
Yeah, I think so. Look, we've always I feel like our teams have always grown stronger together when we've kind of done that. You guys mentioned earlier about going out and practicing against the Chargers out in LA, and that was a good experience for us. And so we're looking forward to taking our group and kind of hunkering down together and getting an opportunity to work against somebody else.
Coach, are you intrigued to see what Taysom could do in that spot? Because essentially be a real matchup.
Yeah, look, I mean, yeah, intrigued, but yet I feel like I've seen it too. It's a spot where he's had some snaps and he's had some reps in that position, and we've utilized him in the past in that role. And so, yeah, I'm intrigued, but yet I also feel like I kind of have a pretty good idea what it's going to look like, and I kind of like it.
Is it just a thing where you think that he could be a very tough cover man-to-man in that kind of?
Yeah, I think he just brings a dynamic element to our offense, really in all the roles that he plays. And so when you have a good football player, you want to try to find opportunities for you to utilize him and put him in those positions to do things that he does really well. And so, yeah, I'm excited about seeing what he can do and feel good that he's going to be able to help us in those roles.
Dennis, you talked last week about what you all look for in some of your DBs, physical traits and qualities. What about your defensive line? Is there certain traits or size prototypes you look for?
Yeah, size and length.
Why?
Well, because, what they do is they keep offensive players off of them. And so you need that arm length to be able to do that. It's a much tougher game, when it's played like this, as opposed to I'm able to create some space with my length. And so we're big on size, we're big on length. Obviously, we're big on athleticism. And I think as you look at our roster, you know, you can kind of see that that's, you know, when Cam Jordan's the runt of the group, you know, then you kind of got a pretty good sized, pretty good looking group. So, yeah, so that's what we're looking for.
Does that affect the way you all rush the passer? Because you don't seem to have those bendy kind of Dwight Freeney type.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's hard to rush the passer in this league with just speed. You have to be able to rush the passer with power, and so all of our guys have the ability to do that. And most of the really good rushers, although they may have speed, at some point they got to be able to convert to power, and they all have that ability. It's in their arsenal. So yeah, I mean, you know, we're not big on the undersized defensive end that runs really, really fast. We'd rather play a big man's game.
I know you were busy working. Did you have a chance to watch the Hall of Fame ceremony in San Mills?
You know what? I didn't. You know, and I hate that, but yet, look, we had a lot of other things going on. So, but I'm excited. I just think, you know, really for all of those guys to be recognized and you know, be inducted to such a tremendous group that's provided so much for our league and really is kind of you know, established a way of doing things that we as the younger generation have an obligation to uphold.
Just a quick follow-up on big picture on James. What would be some specific examples of on-the-field action you've seen that underlies your overall positive impression of where he's at now?
Yeah, well, look, I think he's moved well. I think he's thrown the ball well. I think he's done a really good job of his communication with the offensive unit. So I've seen elements of quarterback play that you have to be able to do, and I've seen him do it in practice. And so, yeah, that's why I feel good about it.